Grilled chicken Caesar salad is on the menu today, and as you can see, it is a hearty, delicious salad, but we are going to make everything at home. We're gonna grill the chicken. We're gonna make a delicious Caesar dressing. That is my take on it, and I think has so much flavor. Lots of Parmesan, homemade croutons. It's all gonna be on your meal table soon, so get ready, because you're gonna wanna make this. Caesar is one of those things that you either love it and have the perfect memory of it, or you haven't really made it at home and don't know how to do your own version at home. So this is my take on a Caesar salad. I'm not gonna say it's the most traditional. You know, a true Caesar salad usually uses egg yolk only to make the dressing. We're gonna do a convergence of mayonnaise, which I think is really good in a Caesar and adds a creaminess with a little yogurt, but then also use the anchovies, and we're gonna talk about those because you need them for that classic flavor. This also has chicken on it to make it more of a meal. I love a salad that transforms into a meal. So when you add a protein that's lean and delicious like chicken, it just takes it to another level. And so that's what we're gonna start with to make sure we have good flavor in the chicken. And that starts with marinating it. Now sometimes I do a dry brine. In this case, I'm gonna do a wet one because I want that lemon and those beautiful flavors to really get into it. So to start, we're gonna take some lemon. I have lemon here, and what I like is lemon, obviously, as we all know, has that nice pop of acidity and just has that brightness to it, and it works really well with the flavors we're using in a Caesar. The Caesar dressing in general can usually be pretty heavy, pretty rich, so lemon can cut through that. And it also works really well in a marinade because it has acidity to it. So just like a vinegar would or other things, it has kind of that extra pop that we want, and that's really beautiful. So we're gonna put that right in here, and instantly it smells wonderful. So then we're gonna cut that, of course, with some olive oil. So this is going to coat the chicken a little bit, add some richness that when we actually grill it, or if you just wanna do it in the oven, you can do that too, is going to help it have kind of a non-stick quality, but also roast really well too. So we're gonna kind of just do all those things together, which are really beautiful. Next, what we need in here is some garlic. Now, I grow my own garlic, so I get huge, massive heads, as you can see. So I'm using 1 clove, which is really like 2 cloves, which when I cut it, you can see it's still really big. I love growing my own garlic. If you haven't done that, you really should try it, and you can follow along in my stories to see how easy it really is. You want to then I'm putting it through a garlic press because it does the work for me. Since this is going into a marinade, I really want it to melt into that and not necessarily have big pieces of garlic. See how they just come out? It presses the juices out, gives you kind of the strongest flavor you can get, which is really nice. So to finish then, we have some rosemary before we do our seasonings here. And the rosemary I'm just mincing up. I'm using fresh rosemary. I think that will release more of its essential oils in here. You know, rosemary is one of those things when you cut it, it goes flying everywhere because it has kind of that hard outer exterior. So put the rosemary right in there. I keep a plant always, even through the winter, and I just love it. It's the easiest to me herb indoors to keep, give it a nice sunny window. We need plenty of salt. That's gonna make sure we actually season the chicken. This is the one spot you have where the salt is gonna actually help retain moisture and season the meat, and some fresh black pepper we're gonna put right in here. You just whisk that together. Now, it's not gonna be a perfect emulsion, but you just wanna whisk it to combine. You can see it quickly comes together, and guys, this smells so good. Like, it has that rosemary just gives it that hint of something extra, which I think is really nice. So I haven't touched the chicken yet. Remember, raw meat, be careful. So now I'm gonna put the meat in here, and I wanna make sure it's coated. You can see I'm using boneless, skinless chicken breasts. And what I wanna do is marinate it for, at a minimum, 30 minutes. I like to go at least 2 hours, and I like to let it sit in here and really marinate, maybe turn it even once or twice. So I'm gonna cover it after I wash my hand and put it in the fridge and let it just marinate, where it's gonna just like really season and start really soaking in the flavors. I'm getting breadcrumbs ready because if you're gonna make a good Caesar at home, you need to make good croutons. That's just something you need to do. And if you haven't made croutons, guess what? It's the easiest thing ever. You're in for a treat because homemade croutons are gonna have far more flavor. You can use whatever your favorite bread is. I'm using a sourdough that obviously I make. I have though a great crusty overnight sourdough that's not really a true sourdough, but is a great starter one to try. That would work perfect for this, for a crusty bread. And what I'm doing is cutting them in a rough 1/2-inch piece. Now, I know some people love to tear their bread. You can go ahead and do that. This crusty bread has such a, you can see even as I'm chopping it, it has such a thick crust on it that a good knife is really gonna make that easier work than just tearing it. But if you wanna do big torn pieces and shards of bread, that can be a great rustic way to enjoy a Caesar. So this is where it's starting to show. you can really make this your own. If you have certain spices or herbs you want to use on the croutons to change it up, to freshen it, to kind of make a Caesar your version of the one you want to eat, this is the place to do that. And it's super easy because croutons are so forgiving for all of that. So I'm just kind of roughly putting my last one in here. And then I like a mixture of two things on them. So instead of just olive oil or just butter, I like the mixture of both. I think butter gives it some really nice flavor. So I drizzle that all around, and you notice I'm doing this in a bowl, not on just the baking sheet. I think it's easier to toss and evenly coat them. So I'm gonna do equal parts of olive oil, which again, these two things to me work really well in the oven to make sure that flavor gets on there. The next key is some spices. So I'm doing onion powder and garlic powder. Those two together work really well with the Caesar. They also just kind of simply flavor the croutons without being even overpowering. We have a lot of other flavors going on. We're gonna make a dressing, we have chicken. So this is just a really simple way to do that. Of course, you need some salt to season them and some black pepper. And then all we're gonna do is we're gonna put them right into the oven and let them toast. So just stir this together really well. Pour them all out. You just wanna make it an even layer. And again, if you want them smaller pieces, go ahead and do that. If you want them bigger, do that. Isn't it fun how you can now, when you're cooking in your kitchen, you can do whatever you want. There are gonna be no one that come and tell you to do it differently. So, into the oven, they're gonna toast. They're gonna get the chicken ready. It's really simple, but you're gonna love this. Croutons have toasted. Look how beautiful they are, and what I love, they're so crispy. That was so good. Those are a treat on themselves. So what I have, I'm gonna let this cool. They're ready to go. We can assemble the dressing here soon. We're gonna get the chicken ready. I like a look of a grilled chicken. I like those marks on it. I'm gonna use a grill pan on the stove. You could actually grill this outside if you want to. We're still in kind of the winter here. My grill isn't set up. You could also just roast them fully in the oven too. You can kind of go either way and make it work for you. So what I'm gonna do is come over. It's been preheating my grill pan. I wanna just drip off that excess marinade and then put them right on. Do you hear that? That is a sound of beauty. So I'm gonna let them go a couple minutes on one side, flip them over, and then we'll put them in the oven. I just turned one, and you can see it's just getting some marks on it, which they're just nice. And now I'm gonna turn here the second one. Look at that. So since this is a grill pan that can just go in the oven, I'm just gonna now put this whole thing in the oven, and we're gonna let them roast fully. I don't want them to dry out. So always take any meat or chicken out when it's about 5 degrees under where it usually goes, and then it will finish baking right on the counter. The chicken came out, I always take it out 5 degrees under where it should finish, and then cover it with foil. So it's just gonna sit here for a little bit, covered with foil, finish roasting, come up to that 165 degrees Fahrenheit. If you cook it all the way to 165, it has so much heat in it. When you take it out, it keeps cooking and it gets dry. No one wants dry chicken. So what I'm gonna do is make mine in a large wood salad bowl. You don't have to do this. I do think it makes it easier because you can just make the dressing and then get everything and keep it together and then dress the greens right in here. You can do it in any large bowl. You can make the dressing separately and try to pour it over, but this is a thicker dressing. That's where all the flavor is gonna come from. So what we're gonna start with is a little bit of garlic, which I have over here. And I'm gonna start just by smashing it a little bit here, getting it into somewhat smaller pieces, but then we're going to actually smash it together with the anchovy. So if you're not used to anchovy, the idea may scare you, and that's completely fair. They smell different, and what I'll show you here, I usually get mine in a little jar, and they have some oils with them. They of course have a strong smell, but this is what gives it the iconic flavor that really is needed. And I know it's a fishy smell, and if you're not into fish, I understand, but trust the process. If you've had a good Caesar salad, it's had these. So what I'm gonna do is start with a little pounder here, and I just wanna pound these into a paste with that garlic. So it'll just take a couple pounds here, probably about a minute worth, but see how already it's coming down to a paste? This is gonna really begin the flavor process. So if you come in, you can see this is really coming down to a paste. I'm gonna scrape it off of here. And this is because everything else we're putting in, we're not blending it or anything. We're just putting these together really nicely. So if this is already in a paste, everything else is gonna mix into it much, much better. And it releases most of the flavor we can get out of those things. So for all the other ingredients, it's not a vinaigrette, it's different than that, but we are gonna have Dijon mustard. It gives that balance of flavor. And that is really needed. And I think you have to remember that when you're making something. It's all about that balance of flavor often, and that play of getting that perfect right ratio. So we're gonna do some mayonnaise. I like a good homemade mayonnaise. You can do anything that you think is gonna be better. I like homemade because I think you can adjust those flavors and levels just perfectly. I'm gonna cut that though with a little bit of Greek yogurt. I think that has a little bit of a lighter flavor. It offsets the richness of the mayonnaise, which I think is important. We're gonna also do just a little bit here of Worcestershire sauce. This is that compound of flavors that adds a real depth that you just can't reach otherwise. I need a little bit of lemon zest. I think super essential to have lemon zest. Just a little bit adds a really great brightness like we talked about before. Put it right in there, and then we're gonna also juice. I had a half a lemon left from before. We're gonna start with this much, and we can always thin it down more as needed. We're gonna put that juice right in there. It's already smelling so good. And we of course need to season with salt, super important, and lots of black pepper. I think a good Caesar needs a lot of black pepper. And then we're gonna finish with a good dose, and I mean a healthy dose of fresh Parmesan cheese. And don't try to not use fresh. You need the fresh, and you need a lot of it. When it's whisked together, you can see how it's that beautiful kind of thickness that I want. And what I'm gonna do is just give it a little bit more lemon juice. Sometimes this is a touch and feel thing, and that's okay in the kitchen. We have touch and feel things that we need to learn from, and I tasted it, and I think it just needs a little bit more lemon juice. So squeeze it right in there and whisk that in. This is the beautiful part. Look how simple this is and how quick that was to come together. That to me is beautiful. So now the real goal here is just putting everything together. So we're going to start with a head of beautiful romaine. You could use a different lettuce. I like romaine for the crispness, and traditionally it's left in nice large pieces. So I'm gonna start by just putting in these whole beautiful pieces of romaine. Isn't that gorgeous? I just think that is so beautiful. And I love the hearts of them. I think that's where it gets sweeter. And I love the ribs. You know, you take off like the woody ribs on that bottom here a little bit, but I like the rest of them. So I'm gonna start by tossing it. I'm gonna get the chicken ready. We'll start slicing it. We're gonna put this thing together. I'm slicing up the chicken, which you can see is perfectly cooked. Now, if you're taking the temperature correctly, and check it before you even slice it, it should be perfect. And if you have a little bit of pink, don't let that scare you. If it's fully cooked, sometimes there is a little bit of pink. As if it's bloody, you don't want that. So you can see this is a very well dressed, and you want that good amount of dressing on it because you want to be able to really taste it and have that. So you can serve this however you want. I like to think of it as, you know, you could put the chicken breast right on the side of it if you want, so people can all take some with it, and it's just so beautiful. But then to me, what you need to finish with is with that beautiful parm we had, is take a nice shredder, or a peeler I should say, and just make some shards. Make some shards of Parmesan right on here, and I think that is such a great way to finish that, because who does not want a good dose of parm right at the end? And look how perfect that is. You get these gorgeous shards that I think just really finish it and dress it up in a really nice way. That's perfect. So obviously you serve it up. If you want to chop it smaller, you can. What I like is you could actually just take a whole piece like this and just enjoy it as is. Make the perfect bite. But you know what? As I'm biting into this, I'm missing one of the best parts. The croutons. I'm gonna put those right on top. I was so excited to eat it, but I already know what these taste like. Heaven. They taste like heaven. Look how perfect this salad is. It is fit for a restaurant that is a good restaurant, not a crummy one. This is a really good Caesar salad. It has so much flavor. That chicken is so juicy. Took the time to have a little bit of grill marks on it if you want that. Look at that perfection though that is in this salad. This is a great meal. This is a great lunch if you want to. Take it with you somewhere. Enjoy it, but also remember, the point of this is to show you can make good food at home. If I can do this, you can do this. Caesar salad does not have to come in a dressing bottle from the grocery store. You can make a dressing on your own that is delicious, that is rich, that has more flavor, and is better for you if you make it at home. So try this out. Check my website, wyseguy.com, for the full recipe. Share this video around so other people can see how easy it is too. And until next time, I hope you make something good to eat. It's gonna make you feel better.